called Bloom to Teach Smart. Sorry, Bloom and Grow to Teach Smart. And this is a little play on words. We want you to look at the flower pot and see the flower blooming and growing. And that's what we want you all to do as educators, to grow as educators and be smart about using SMART objectives, which we will take a look at in a few minutes. Now, Professor Joelle and I looked at the feedback that we got from webinar number 1 last month, and we reviewed all of the evaluations, and it helped us to tailor this presentation for you. I just want to share some of the comments that we got from the previous participants, and many of you said it was precise, concise, broken down well, it was to the point, swift and direct, and we also received many expressions of gratitude. So we thank you for that. But Joelle, I want you to know that we are now right back here on track. We're doing what we want our educators to continue to do and grow, and we are using the KISS format. Just tell us, Joelle, KISS. It's another acronym. We love using acronyms in
Beautiful,
English.
beautiful. Keep it simple, silly.
That's right. Keep it simple, silly. KISS. I'm going to give you all a kiss during this presentation and make sure to continue keeping it simple for you. So let's go on to the next slide and begin our presentation. So the next slide is going to give us a little recap of what we looked at last time. If you weren't there, this will be very simple and easy to catch up. We're going to keep it simple. And we also, those of you who watched the YouTube video or attended with us, this will just be a quick review for you. So last time we discussed the SWABAT formula. Again, another acronym that stands for Students Will Be Able To, and that's the formula that we use to create learning objectives that are clear and observable and in a certain context. So it consists of 3 elements, and the elements, just to review, are use, the word use to indicate the target skill. We use the word to indicate the measurable behavior or what we want to see in the classroom or on our Zoom or our virtual lesson. And then we use the word in to be specific about what situation or context we want our students to learn. So Joelle, read us the example on this slide so we can just briefly review the components. Or I can read it if you're busy letting people in and such. So the example that we have up is by the end of the lesson, students will be able to use replies of expressing surprise, happiness, and sadness to talk about and respond to a partner's travel experience in a paired activity. So in this example, Joelle, are you available to answer my questions?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, great. So just so they don't get bored with one voice, tell us which part indicates the target skill in this example.
This case is use replies of expressions.
That's right. We want them to focus on using replies. There's that verb use. Replies of expressing surprise, happiness, and sadness. That is the linguistic component. Okay, then what is the next part, the second component?
The second component is to talk about, let me see, I can read it well, and respond to partners. So this is the second component, which is more related to the pragmatic part, right?
Exactly. The pragmatic part is to talk about, I think you said talk about and respond to a partner's travel experience. So that would be something pragmatic and measurable. And finally, the last component is in what context? I think we can easily answer. It's the last part in a paired
In a
activity.
pair activity.
Exactly. That's how we're going to be able to see all the three by using this learning objective, using the SWOBAT formula. I think it's all coming back to us. Let's go to the next slide. And we're going to take a look at what our participants, you, the students tonight, will be able to do by the end of this session. So we've come up with our own SWOBAT statement. And Joelle, if you're available, I'll let you read it to tell us what we're going to know by the end of this webinar.
By the end of this session, students will be able to review Bloom's taxonomy, is number one. Number two is align common European framework of reference with SWOBAT statement and identify SMART objective using Bloom's taxonomy.
In what context, Joel?
In a group activity.
In a group activity, exactly. So do we have our three components in our own SWOBAT statement? I think we do.
Yes, we
are
do.
modeling, yes, we are modeling for you, participants, just like we promised we would model for you teaching strategies when we have these webinars. So we wanted to model for you how to create a SWOBAT statement before we continue. So that's ours today. And let's go on and look more at Bloom's taxonomy. Here we go. This might look familiar to many of you. It's a revised Bloom's taxonomy, which was revised in the year 2001. And they revised it to emphasize active thinking or active cognitive processes. So I want you to take a look at our triangle. It shows us how learning tasks are organized into 6 different levels by the color coding there on the different levels. From lower order thinking at the bottom of our triangle to the higher order thinking at the top of the triangle. So when we want to create an ESL-friendly objective, we want to use Bloom's taxonomy to put it in words. If you'll look, you start at the bottom with the lower level remembering. So when we start learning a language, we start by remembering or recalling basic subjects or facts, and then we're able to define things or memorize things. And we're going to be able to build on that, and then we start understanding the next level up on the triangle. We're able to explain what we remember, or to describe it, or to identify it, and so on and so forth until we get to the top where we can create. By building up on previous knowledge, we're finally able to create and produce original work, and that's when we're at the highest level thinking. So let's continue and look at the table that we prepared for you. Oh boy, very small letters. Don't worry, I'm not going to ask you to read it, Joelle. I just want to make a point by looking at this Bloom's taxonomy, where I inserted on the top a yellow highlighted line showing how we can use the Common European Framework of Reference, or CEFR as we refer to it by its acronym. I've put it in at the top of the table so that you can see how we can align our Common European Framework of Reference with each of those levels of the triangle that we saw. We have a pre-A1 or A1 on our CEFR level, aligning with remembering, that lowest level of the triangle. Then the A1, A2 aligns with the next rung on the triangle, understanding. And then the B1 aligns with applying, and so on and so forth until you reach the top of that triangle, Bloom's taxonomy. So let's take a closer look so that you can understand more about CEFR in relationship to Bloom's taxonomy. Next slide. It will help me, before I talk about this one, it will help me if everyone participating just put in the chat box anything you know about CEFR, so that way I don't bore you too much. write in anything you've heard about the Common European Framework of Reference. So just write in the chat box, oh, I know nothing about it, or well, I know XYZ, whatever you know. Go ahead and use the chat box if you can. I know some of you are on your phones and it's difficult, but if you can, or if you want to unmute and say something, that's fine too. And if you don't know anything, I'll just
There
continue.
is one response here that it works with the standards.
Okay, good. Anything else, Joelle, that because I can't see it all in the chat box right now.
Let's see here. Yes, Mariela says it works with standards. Let's see if we have more
Okay.
answers, more responses or ideas. It was created to orientate languages. Good.
Okay, good. Okay.
Who else?
And feel free, I'm taking a little response pause, give you a pause to answer, to think about it, reflect, answer. And even if you've never heard of it before, it's okay. So then let me know if I should continue, Professor.
Yes, you can go on.
All right, great. Wonderful. Well, thank you. Oh, I see someone else may have answered. Standardized framework developed by the Council of Europe to, ooh la la, to describe and assess foreign language proficiency across Europe and beyond. Very good. It is why this one has already been exposed to the SEFR, widely used in language teaching, curriculum design, and assessment. Thank you, Aldridge Patino. Thank you. Really appreciate that. Let me break that down for all the rest. Okay. So now what I would like to start with is telling you that our SWOBAT statements and Bloom's taxonomy work beautifully together. We saw that our SWOBAT statements are intentional and observable, but when we use them with Bloom's taxonomy, we use specific verbs, and that helps us to be more intentional and more leveled, more measurable when we use Bloom's taxonomy to create our objectives. So the benefit is that it helps teachers in scaffolding, digging deeper and learning across language proficiency levels. So let's take a look at the SEFR circle at the right. This is my big, beautiful blue circle. It illustrates how A1 and A2 levels are at the foundation for ESL learners, and how the framework allows mastery at each level. So as students progress from A1, they then develop enough skills to A2. Yes, you can associate it with the table we saw right before this, because it aligns beautifully with Bloom's taxonomy, the SEFR does. And we can then ask students to master previous competencies as they grow and continue from one level to the next, and then they connect everything to the real world, and their communication needs become refined. I mean, they refine their communication skills. Now, the benefits of using SEFR and SWOBAT is to help us measure and to keep track of benchmarks and progress of students. So some of your evaluations told us too that you want more information about assessments and how to create assessments and how to work them into your classrooms. But as you can see, you can't really even do any assessing until you're able to create clear and measurable objectives for your students. So it's the only way we'll be able to observe, assess, and measure their progress. And in a couple of slides, I'll show you how to marry the two together. We'll see what I'm talking about. Next slide, Joelle. First, we need to understand the SEFR proficiency scale as it relates to our ESL learners. So, Joelle, can you please, I know it's, put your glasses back on again and tell me with the small letters there, can you tell us what a basic A1, A2 basic user is able to do at that level?
All right. Perfect. So, and at the A1 level, students can understand and use simple expressions about everyday life, while A2 learners can handle routine tasks and engage in basic exchanges. These foundation levels are typically the target for primary education, especially in Panama.
Very good. So that shows us what students can do at that A1, A2 basic level. And then as you build on those skills and competences, what can you do as an independent user? If you're too busy, I can read it, Joelle. I can hear that the waiting room is, everyone's ringing to come in. Want me to read that? I'll go ahead. As an independent user at the B1 to B2 level, users can maintain conversations, so that means they're already getting better at their skills. You're using familiar topics to express themselves with some confidence. B2 learners interact with increased fluency and can discuss a wide range of subjects. And many secondary students, the school graduates aim to reach these intermediate levels. So we won't bother to do C1, C2 because I think you get the idea. Beyond high school, maybe in college, you'll reach a C1, C2 proficiency level. Or even in high school sometimes it overlaps depending on your competences. Great. Let's go on then. Now that we understand a little bit about the proficiency levels, I wanted to connect to talk a little bit about why we use the Sefer. Aldrich already shared that with us, but I'll just review it for everyone. It's an internationally recognized and system that clearly describes language ability across 6 proficiency levels, from like what we saw from A1 to C2. And it uses statements that focus on what students can achieve instead of what they cannot achieve. So that is a very good way for us to monitor progress. And I remember in school, Joelle, when I had teachers that would give me a test, and I didn't know any of the answers, and then I asked myself, why don't they ask me questions that I do know? So I want to be tested on things I do know and then build on that foundation, right? So what else I wanted to connect to this is that it's student-centered, right? This is a student-centered process. It's not focusing on the teacher. You go from a beginner user from A1, look at my other visual on the right-hand side. It looks like books standing up, and you see their binder, the binding of the book. It goes from A1, beginning, as you go up to C2. You start as a basic user in A1, A2, and you build to B1, B2, intermediate, upper intermediate, and then you continue to C1, C2, advanced or proficient user. All right, I think we can go on to the next one.
I can add something
please go
here
ahead.
that if we have clear and well-defined can-do activities that students needs to work on, is going to be easier for teachers to create their assessment part or to create their evaluation part for the students.
Exactly. If they are monitoring what level they function at, the language level, then they are able to see progress and benchmarks and later on assess or evaluate. And that's why we are starting with this, the Sefer framework and Bloom's taxonomy. So now we can look at this shows us to take a closer look at Sefer and Swabat statements across those proficiency levels. So if you look on the left side, we have the level of Sefer level that we just, from that big beautiful blue circle. And the middle column, we have our Swabat statement, which we already know how to create. And in the final column, we have what Joelle was talking about, the important piece, key characteristics. But let's look at how a beginner SWOBAT statement looks and what the key characteristics of a beginner are. So go ahead and read the SWOBAT statement if you're available, Joel.
Students will be able to identify common Panamanian festivals in a simple list.
Very good. Can you see that the key characteristics for that level for a beginner is to recognize maybe the festival if you show them a picture, or to use a single word to name the festival that they're looking at, or to use a basic phrase to name the festival. Let's see it to get an idea of the way the levels work. Go to A2 elementary just to get the idea.
A2 elementary, students will be able to describe 2 local festivals using simple sentences.
Right. Do you see, Joel, that at this level, we're building upon the previous knowledge, just like we saw in Bloom's? So we're having students look and give us simple descriptions of the festivals that they see in pictures or in writing. Or they can use basic communication to say things like, oh, I went to Carnival, or I went to Semana Santa parade. They can describe it in a few more words as they're becoming more and more proficient. All right. So let's look at what we're going to do next, Joel. We're going to connect. We're going to get some more practice connecting Bloom's verbs to our Sefer framework. So this is a great connection here that we need to feel comfortable with. We see our Sefer levels, pre-A1 and A1. So that's the beginning user. And with Bloom's cognitive domain, remember the bottom of that beautiful colored triangle, we had remember and understand. And the typical verbs, the action verbs that we can use at that level are to name, to label, to list, to identify, to recognize, to describe, to match, or to state. You can do a lot of things at that basic level. And so that is the part that I really want you to focus on, is the verbs that you're going to be using to create your learning objectives. Just to get another sample, Joelle, can you look at A2 and tell us, according to Bloom's, what domains are we going to be focusing on in A2?
In A2, we have understand and apply, and the typical verbs that we have is describe, classify, organize, demonstrate, apply, and complete.
Exactly.
Something that I have observed here is that in the A1, what we see is that students just mention or name or label or list. In the A2, they should be able to, or they have to be able to at least write simple or short sentences with those lists that they did in the A1.
Exactly, Joelle. So we're connecting Bloom's to the Sefer, those beautiful blue circles, the ranking of the Sefer, the levels of knowledge in Sefer. So let's take a look at the next slide, which will get us to how to do this, connecting. Remember, I spoke about marrying the two. We're going to now look at this wedding, how to combine the SWOBAT and Sefer, marry those two. How are we going to do that? Marry the Sefer to the SWOBAT statements. We can do it with SMART objectives. And we're going to show you how that works. And again, as I said, we educators love acronyms. So SMART is another acronym, and we're going to go through each one of the letters to see what it means. Most of you know this already, so it'll be review. But Joelle, what does the S stand for?
The S is specific, and it clearly defines what students will learn or achieve with precise language and focus.
Exactly. So now that's the first one. Being specific is really important. with SMART objectives. What about the M?
The M is measurable. Establish clear indicators to track progress and determine when objectives are met.
I can't emphasize how important measurable is, because that is what's going to allow us to observe and assess and evaluate our students. What about the A, Joelle?
The A stands for achievable. Achievable is setting the realistic objective considering students' abilities, resources, and time constraints.
Exactly. It has to be kind of realistic, because for a kindergartner, I wouldn't give the same assignment as I would to a high school student. It has to be achievable and attainable relative to their level and development. What about relevant? What does the R stand for? Go ahead.
Relevant. This is as a part as one of the sections that I really like. Align objective with course content and broader educational goals for meaningful learning. This is where it has to match with the curriculum, right?
With the curriculum, exactly, as well as the students' interests. And for example, is it relevant to give a kindergarten student a job interview dialogue? Probably not. It's more relevant to give that to a high school student, just to show what we mean by relevant. But you're absolutely right, exactly in alignment with the standard objectives for a Panama. And finally, the T.
The T is time bound. It's like clearly state when objectives should be met to establish accountability and basic.
Right, right. You and I had a conversation about accountability. It simply means uh, being able to record and follow and the benchmarks, the progress for the student as well as the teacher. So we don't want to say, well, maybe in 2 years they'll be able to do this. We want to give some time boundaries and timelines, such as by the end of this webinar, or by the end of the week, or by the end of the lesson, by the end of the semester. That's what we mean by that. Okay, I think everyone gets it, right, Joelle? Or do you have any other questions for me?
Perfect. That's fine.
Okay, so let's look at the next slide. And here we're giving you an example of a SMART objective that is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. And it's written for high school students. Some of you I know are in elementary, some high school, some college. And so go ahead. Are you available to read it for us, Joelle?
Yes, I can do it.
Okay, great.
Example for high school students considering the SMART, the specific, the measurable, the achievable, the relevant, and the time bound. By the end of week 3, students will be able to conduct 3 peer interviews on study habits and deliver a 2-minute oral summary in English using reporter speech and at least 3 linking expressions. To demonstrate proficiency, students must achieve a minimum of 70% of speaking performance. Checklist assessing accuracy, organization, and fluency.
Very good. Now, can you tell me which part is the S part, the specific? Or do you want me to answer?
Okay, what is the specific? The specific is conduct 3 peer interviews, right?
Exactly. We want them to conduct and deliver the 3 interviews exactly in a 2-minute oral. That's very specific, a 2-minute oral summary in English. What about the achievable part? I'm sorry, is it, yeah, the measurable part, excuse me. I hope everyone's reflecting with you and taking a look. Look for your measurable piece.
So in order to measure this, I need to see
Oh, that's okay. I'll help you out.
the amount of things
Yes,
they demonstrate, right?
exactly, exactly. So, do we have any kind of measurement here? Is it 100%?
It's just the demonstration of 70%
Yes,
as the
yes,
minimum, right?
exactly. The measurement is 70%. Exactly. Let's do the A, appropriate. Is this appropriate for high school students, Joelle?
Yes, because according to the CFR and the objectives that we see, this is something that a B1 student can do in their English classes.
Excellent. And what about, is it relevant to their life or their interest or developmental level?
Of course, because this is an objective that's probably taken from the curriculum, from their, content that they use in English classes.
Okay, great. And then the easiest part, is it time bound?
In 3 weeks,
Excellent. All right, you did it. You just graduated with a SMART objective. All right. Thank you, Joelle. Let's go on to the next slide and see why SMART objectives matter. Why do they matter? Why do they matter? Let's take a look. You know, when I teach class, I always put my SMART objective on the board or I share it during my virtual class. And why do I do that? It allows me and the students to understand what the expectations are, what they can achieve, what the outcomes will be. It just gives us all a clear map and directions on reaching our goals, both for teachers and students. So they help us to monitor the learning process, these SMART objectives, and they also align with our learning goals or our standards. In addition, they reduce student anxiety because they know where they're heading, they know the path, it's not an unknown, and it supports the educational quality and effectiveness. So in the community and in your school. So this is the very beginning and the beauty of assessment. When you monitor the progress and you match the feedback that you get from the students with the learning objectives. You create the objective and you're able to watch it, observe it, monitor it, and assess or evaluate it. So let's see if we can put it all together and give you guys some practice. Joelle, let's go to some of a fun game together. Here's an activity that you're going to have fun with. It's your turn. I'm going to let Joelle explain his activity. Is that okay, Joelle? The Wordle activity, word wall activity?
Okay, yes, wonderful. I'm going to share here in the chat box the word wall activity, what you have to do, right? And you can also do that is there, right, in the chat box. And you can also go if you have if you're using a computer, and you can use your cell phone just to go with the QR, and then the questions are based on this objective that we have here that we are going to read. Oh, I'm sorry. It says, oops.
I can read it if you want,
Okay,
Joanne.
read it.
Okay, so this is an A2 level listening objective. And it says by the end of a 60-minute lesson, students will listen to 3 short audio recordings describing different campus locations and write 1-sentence summaries for each. Each summary must accurately name the location and describe its primary function with at least 2 out of 3 summary meetings. 3 summary meetings, it should say. 3 summaries meeting. Okay. Now, Joelle is going to give you a timer. Don't be nervous or anxious. This is just fun practice. And if you haven't, it was my first time doing a word wall with Joel. So it was my first time doing this activity with him. And we're going to have fun doing it. So everyone get ready for
Okay. You
his
can
instructions.
go, it's there on Classroom. I'm sorry, on the chat box, I'm sorry. Here, chat box, you can go to the chat box and click that link and enjoy doing the activity. Let's give you 2 minutes.
So go ahead, 2 minutes.
Okay, are you there?
I'm here, Joel. Go ahead.
Perfect. Could you answer? Could you connect participants?
I am having a little technical difficulty here. What did you want me to do, Joel? Are you there?
I was muted. I'm just checking in that participants are, could go through the link that I sent on the chat box and connect with the activity. Okay.
So if you show us with a reaction, participants, if you were able.
Oh, yes, we have people doing here. Right now, we have Mariela. Mariela is on the top. Let's see. We want more people. More people, more people.
Maybe they need a little more time.
Yes. Yes. Go ahead. Okay, now we have here Aldrit and Mauri. They are tying in first place. Okay, let's see here. Go ahead. Go ahead. Keep going. Okay. Don't worry. This is just a practice, right? It says I have bad score. Don't worry.
There
It's
are only
just
7, yeah.
okay. So let's see. We have more people joining here. Okay.
Good. Just there are only 7 questions.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Let's see. Oh, we have 15 answers here. 15. Let's see who is. Okay. Aldrit, all correct. Very good. Amaury, oh, excellent. We have 15 answers here. Great. Excellent. Excellent. Fantastic. Very nice. Okay. What I see here is what and what probably the question that was more kind of challenging for participant was I identify which one was a specific part. That's what we see here while I was checking the activity, right? So beautiful, excellent. This is just a practice. Don't worry if you did not get all correct. But ideally, what we wanted to do is to check in. In order to have to understand this well, you need to practice. is practice and practice and practice. And I think that, beautiful, excellent, Lori Bells, 6 out of 7, beautiful, excellent. So I think that we had a good kind of, participation. We have 18 students completing the quiz, which is great.
Excellent. I want to congratulate Aldrich and Lori Bell for having high scores, but I'm sure that the others benefited from the activity. So remember to recognize any effort with your students, even if they're not at the same level. That's what we are modeling here today also. And yay, I see everyone's scores. They're putting it up. All right. Well, you're getting pretty close to the good scores. Oh, don't worry if you're just a beginner. You're at that A1, pre-A1 or A1 level. Not to worry. So for now, let's continue with our PowerPoint. We have a few more slides just to wrap it up. Thank you for participating in that. I hope you had fun with that. And I did want to mention that there was in the chat box a very nicely written objective. Again, Aldrich, maybe at the end you could read it for us before we finish the PowerPoint. All right. This next part is about a great handy dandy table that puts it all together for us. It's very useful as a quick reference to see how to use your action verbs from Bloom's taxonomy for each of those common European framework of reference. So using Bloom's and Sefer, and I'm going to describe each column. The left column, as you see, are the Sefer levels from that big, beautiful blue circle, or those books that we saw stacked up. Then we have the typical Bloom's levels from that beautiful triangle, the multicolored, starting with remember all the way up to create. Originate. So this kind of gives you all the levels using all the 3 entities that we discussed. We started with SWABAT. We looked at Bloom's taxonomy, how to make our objectives more precise. And then we aligned them with our Sefer levels so that we are going to be in synchronization with your Panamanian standards. All right, this one is a great handy chart for you to look at and keep. By the way, you'll all have a copy of the PowerPoint, right, Joelle?
Yes, we'll be sending the PowerPoint, and you will also share this video on YouTube. If you share the YouTube link of the English department, you will watch the previous webinar and this webinar.
Wonderful. Thank you, Joelle. So now it's time to have our audience assess us, evaluate us, but first by doing a little activity with reactions. Do you want to explain it, Joelle, or you want me to?
Okay, yes. Please, let's see if we have covered the objectives of today's session. You go to the reaction part where it says here on Zoom, it says reactions. Please, if you consider that we have reviewed Bloom's taxonomy, go and send us a reaction. Could be, thumbs up, could be, I don't know, any reaction that you consider we deserve after this session, right? Go to the reaction and send us a reaction.
So yes, did we review Bloom's taxonomy? Thumbs up or down, or clap, or heart, or thumbs down, whatever you want. Giving us feedback. Then look at the next one. Did we align Common European Framework of Reference, the Sefer, with our SWOBAT statements. I'm unable to see everyone. Are you looking at everyone, Joelle?
We have reactions. We have reactions.
Great.
Beautiful.
Good.
Yes.
And then let's look at the, I see, very good, I see. Now, and the last thing, did we reach the last objective, part of the objective? I can't see the, there we go.
Use Bloom's taxonomy to identify SMART objective in a group activity. Please send us reaction if we have accomplished this objective.
Let us know if you think we've accomplished that, exactly. And we did all this in a group activity virtually. All righty, let's go to the last part. And I know that there's one more
perfect.
slide.
Before going to the last slide, I have shared with you a very short evaluation. Please go to the chat box, and we appreciate your feedback for future webinars.
Well, we also, wanted to allow some time for questions if you have any. And you can raise your hand or unmute yourself if you'd like to. I really would like Aldrich to read her, are you able to read your learning objective?
Sure.
Oh, great, Aldrich, thank you.
All right. This is an example for middle school. So by the end of week 4, students will be able to accurately identify and use at least 5 common adverbs of frequency: always, usually, sometimes, rarely, never, in both written sentence and oral responses with 80% accuracy during classroom activities, which, by the way, is what I'm doing with my students right now.
Excellent, Aldrich. Wow, you included all the components, didn't he, Joelle? Excellent.
Beautifully. Where do you work, Aldrich?
Right now, I'm working in DS International School.
All right.
Online modality.
Okay, fantastic, fantastic.
I take it, Aldrich, you've already reviewed all of this information before. For you, this was just a review, right?
Yeah, this was mostly covered with my master's degree program in the UTP. That's what I'm very familiar with all this. And it's nice to see it again and how it integrated with SWOBAT.
Okay, yeah, the SWOBAT we have in your TESOL methodology certification course, which I think we've done it's just a pilot program right now, but I think we're fine-tuning it to include specifically elementary level teachers and secondary level teachers. And so Joelle and I are working on that. But very good. Thank you for sharing. Is there anyone else who would like to share or make a comment or ask a question? You can unmute yourself or don't be shy.
And please complete the evaluation form. And if there is any comment or question, just for those who joined later, this is a set of webinars that we have been planning to do during the whole year. You can follow on Instagram the University of Panama English School account, and we can also share. We will share that on all social media that we have connect here. We have connected with many organizations, and this is a partnership that the University of Panama has with the U.S. Embassy and the regional office of English language, because as I mentioned at the beginning, Sarah is an English fellow working for the University of Panama and working with special programs at ITSE and in other areas in the country. And this is something that we just created to connect with teachers, to share, refresh, because we teachers, we all learned, new things every day we share. So that is very important.
Yes, and the idea is to continue this learning community together and we're going to work on our third webinar and sort of tie everything together. We're looking forward to presenting at the next one, just to make it a continuum on how to create your own SMART objectives given your own educational setting, and also start talking about, now you'll be ready to talk more about assessment and how to go about assessing.
Beautiful. And I would like to take those 5 minutes we have left to share a little bit about our TESOL certificate program.
Great.
This is a program that we have in collaboration with the U.S. Embassy, and it's a program, it's all asynchronous. We are about to finish the first, to graduate the first group of 40 teachers from, we have people from Panama and international working on this. And this is a program run by the University of Panama and the English department. And it's fully online. It's 240 hours, and it gives you a diploma like University of Panama. And it has 6 modules that you start with the intro to teaching, effective teaching, and teaching skills, and continue with the practice, teaching and reflective practice. And every course has a different facilitator, and it is an opportunity to, connect with English teachers from different parts of the country, and as well from other part of, from the region. And it's a recognized certification, and for in-service teachers, for pre-service teachers, or for people that have been, in the field for years and need to refresh. So we also receive students, or at least we provide this to our students who are about to finish their English program. Every participant has to take a test, which is a minimum of B1 level of English proficiency as per the CFR. And then you have to provide tests, or we provide opportunities to take the test, plus all the requirements. So that's a total of this program is 6 months, and it's $660. And it's all about it's all payment through University of Panama account. So if you need more information, you can connect to this email, please. Take a picture. This is the email that you have to, send in order to request more information about the certificate program. Thank you.
Sounds great, Joel. Any questions or comments for me? Anything at all regarding the material or otherwise? Make sure to fill out your evaluations. We want to be assessed.
Yes.
So please fill
And
them out.
please, if you can open your camera to have a group picture, that would be awesome.
Oh, that would be awesome. I would love that. Everyone put your cameras on. Oh, nice to see you all. Joelle, you should be included too, Prof.
I'll try. If this my camera is not working today. Okay, one more time, please, please. Please, 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 one more time. Okay. Oh, gente muy guapa aquí hoy. Oh my God. Okay. All right. One more picture here, one more picture, one more picture, one more picture. Remember to save the date for next, what is the next webinar?
Yes, it's on the slide.
Okay,
June. I can't believe how quickly
Yes,
time flies by.
okay, save the date, save the date, save the date.
Can you put this last slide on?
Okay. Yes, save the date for our next webinar.
Joel, could you please send the link for the attendance and the evaluation?
Okay, it's in the chat box.
it.
Chat box. I want to resend again.
Okay, please, because I was not able to see it.
Okay, perfect. I'll do it again. Okay.
So there
All
you
right.
go. You
I will-
have our next webinar, June. Sorry, you just took it off.
June 18.
There you go.
Yes, June 18. I'm sharing again the evaluation link
Oh,
here
great. Yes.
in the chat box.
Hello.
Hello, any question here?
Yes, is it possible to access this video on YouTube?
Yes, you are going to post this video on YouTube, and it's under the in the English department channel, YouTube channel.
Okay, English department in
English department, yes.
Okay.
English department YouTube channel.
Okay.
Yes. And if
Thank
you
you.
want, I can share the link here in the chat box.
Oh, please.
Okay, I'll do it. Give me a minute. Just give me 1 minute. And the previous webinar is already there too, right?
Okay, thank you.
Yes, you can
Yes.
watch, because this is this is the continuation of the previous webinar. The previous webinar was
Yes.
all about SWOT, right? How to do that. Okay.
Exactly.
And then now this one is the part B, or the is the follow-up of what we discussed in the previous one. So
Okay.
I'm sharing with you the link here.
Mm-hmm.
Please let me know
Okay,
if you can
I
have
got it.
access.
Thank you,
Yes,
Vanessa.
thank you very much.
You're welcome. We are very happy to have you all in our webinars. Please follow the English department social media, because we post everything in there, and send us an email. We will be very happy to learn from you. I will be sharing our email here in the chat box. And thank you, Sarah, again for an amazing session.
It was
You are
marvelous.
great.
It was my pleasure. Thank you, Joelle. I had a great time with our group, and I hope to see everyone come back next month. And we're going to do it just like Bloom's taxonomy, build on the previous and build till we can create on our own. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Excellent. Have a wonderful and amazing evening.
You too.
Bye-bye.
You as well. Bye-bye. Bye-bye,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Be well.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're all welcome. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Our pleasure.
Bye. Nice.
Bye. Thank you.